For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For as the lightning that flashes out of one part under heaven shines to the other part under heaven, so also the Son of Man will be in his day. In part 7 of this series, we found that Matthew 24:37 and Luke 17:26 are rendered differently, where coming of the Son of Man is the days of the Son of Man. In the same way, Matthew 24:27 is different from Luke 17:24, though they address the same thing. In Matthew, it's the coming of the Son of Man, while in Luke, it's the Son of Man will be in his day. The days of the Son of Man, so also the Son of Man will be in his day. It has been a while since I've considered any day of the Lord as a literal day. After all, Peter said, "But beloved, do not forget this one thing, that with the Lord, one day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day." No, one day is not 1,000 years, but it could be. Or it could be less or more, which I believe is Peter's point. So it is that when John was exiled to Patmos and received the visions of the book of Revelation, he stated, "I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day." This was not a particular 24-hour segment of time in which John found himself, but a spiritual place where the light of Christ was made evident to him through the Spirit of God. Friend, God called the light day, so when our spirit is in light, we are in the day. No wonder Paul said, "You are all sons of light and sons of the day." We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Returning to Matthew 24:27, we are told, "For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming, or presence, of the Son of Man be." East speaks to the rising of the sun, which brings us to the following. And we have something more sure. The prophetic word to which you will do well to pay attention, as to a lamp shining in a dark place, until the day dawns and the morning star rises in your hearts. In Luke 17:24, we read, "As the lightning flashes out of one part under heaven, shines to the other part under heaven, so also the Son of Man will be in his day." Under heaven, as in on earth? I believe so. In part 7, we learned that brimstone refers to places touched by lightning. We also learned that fire and brimstone denote the lake of fire or second death. Might the fire and brimstone connect to the lightning, since brimstone is involved? With this in mind, consider the following. And from the throne proceeded lightnings, thunderings, and voices. 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquake. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightnings and voices and thunderings and an earthquake and great hail. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. Note that from the throne proceeded lightning. Then once the 7th seal is opened, and before the sounding of the trumpets, there is lightning. In the 7th trumpet, we again have lightning. Finally, in the 7th bowl, there is lightning. The fact that each occurrence of lightning is accompanied by voices and thunderings indicates that each of these addresses the same occurrence. But what is most significant is the fact that the lightning occurs in the 7th of everything, that is, the 7th seal, trumpet, and bowl. Curious, is it not? Now, if I am correct in stating that the fire and brimstone connect with the lightning, then might lightning point to the lake of fire or second death? which in turn represents the message of the cross? Doesn't this correlate with the days of the Son of Man? From the throne of God proceeds the message of the cross, and the message of the cross is a result of the voices in heaven. And what do these voices signify? When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? When the fifth seal is opened, John sees the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held, and they cried with a loud voice. Since they are many, would this loud voice not be the voices associated with the lightning and thunder? And what do these voices cry? How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? Judge and avenge? Yes, which when understood is a good thing. For when his judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world learn righteousness. Confirmation of our perspective is seen in the seventh seal. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense, which came with the prayers of the saints, ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer, and filled it with fire of the altar, and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings, and an earthquake. Do you see where the angel takes the golden censer, fills it with fire from the altar, and casts it into the earth? Might the souls under the altar, along with the fire from this altar, typify the lake of fire? And might the fire from the altar typify lightning? Interestingly enough, the Strong's Concordance defines fire as fire, literal or figurative, especially lightning. Might the fire from the altar which is cast into the earth agree with the cry for judgment and vengeance on those who dwell on the earth? For more about the lightning, thunder, and voices, visit my website, grainofwheatpublishing.org, where you can download my free book on this subject. In closing, feel free to leave your comments or subscribe to my channel. In the next video study, we will consider the days of the Son of Man and how they relate to the book of Revelation.